Welcome back. Hello. Welcome back to game number 2. Sorry, a little bit static on the line. No idea what that was. It's never happened before. But welcome back to game number 2 of Balkan Bears versus Ninjas in Pajamas. Weirdest things happen, man. The internet goes down for no reason. Oh my god, there it is. All right. We're going to go into the draft now. I'm going to hand it off to Blaze, my co-caster, who's going to talk about the draft while I try and figure out what the hell is wrong.
Talking with static, I have no experience with that. That's must be very difficult and very frustrating. But yeah, no. Here we go. BBC NiP round 2. NiP obviously looking really strong, going into this best of 3. They only have one win to take it away, and they're going to go ahead and pretty much bring the same idea to this next draft. Give Arrow to Juggernaut, empower him, maybe give him some bloodlust, ban the Meepo, and have a ball. And I feel like BBC just have to have better counters to deal with this Juggernaut. The Earthshaker sometimes can go in with the quick stun, but oftentimes can just be focused down by the Juggernaut himself. Lena's good if she's in the mid. I think if they run a mid Lena here, they'll be in a better position. But if they just go for like another support, it might just be weak lanes again from them, and that would be very problematic. And as well, we're not going to be seeing Yapsor getting the opportunity to counterpick Rubik against the Magnus, as Rubik will be once again in the hands of NiP. So they go for the axe. At least that's something to control the Jug, and kind of gives them tools for initiation. But it puts a lot on Weehaw's shoulders to control Era.
It certainly does, and I figured out that nobody heard the static. It's all in my mind, Blitz. Oh my god, I just called you Blitz. I was literally just talking to Blitz. I'm so sorry. Blaze, it's all in my mind, or rather, all in my head, rather, is it's simply my in-ears that are messing up and causing static. That line is messed up. But nobody's hearing the static, so it's all good. I guess it doesn't matter what I hear. Earthshaker, Lena, Axe, Balkan Bears going for the red lineup. That's my analysis of this draft. Do you like it, Blaze?
Very strong, very strong. But why'd they ban the Troll Warlord? It doesn't make sense.
Oh god, it's because there are other red heroes, right? There's Shadow Demon, right?
Yeah.
Bat Rider.
I was wondering.
So they're gonna run Shadow Demon, Earthshaker as their 2 supports, mid Lena, a 1-position Axe, and an off-lane Bat Rider. Boom. Done.
Oh, yeah. Lena carry Imba. Man, just go the crit.
Yeah.
Go 3 Maelstroms. I've seen that build too.
That attack speed is too legit. Too legit to quit. Zeus is going to be picked up now by Ninjas in Pajamas. Okay, so being mid off-lane Magnus most likely, or do you think this is going to be a support Magnus?
I don't think it's going to be support Magnus. It could be, but I don't think it's going to be. I feel like NiP were really able to put out a lot of pressure in the lanes, and they were very happy with how that played out. So I think they're going to try to emphasize that again. Good supports that can do things in the laning phase that will actually guarantee farm on multiple core heroes. So I could just imagine the off-lane Magnus, the mid Zeus, and have a good time with that. If anything, it's a support Zeus instead of a support Magnus, but... yeah, Dazzle's going to come out. The Axe Dazzle off lane. We were seeing it earlier today. NiP, they seem to deal with it pretty efficiently. That wasn't them playing it, right? No, that was them playing it. Okay, so they know how to play this. They probably know what's good against it.
In fact, when they picked it up, my immediate thought was, well, this is what Team Empire did to beat them at MLG Columbus in the group stage. So then they went ahead and took it for themselves. Tried to beat Empire with it. They did, right? They beat Empire with that dual lane. That was in game number 3.
Yeah. I mean, they were very offensive. So I mean, the Dazzle didn't even have to grave half the time. It was a really clear initiative game for them.
So they ended up winning that, and now they're gonna have to go back to playing against it now with Balkan Bears running that. So that now means we're gonna have some sort of carry that's gonna be babysat by Earthshaker. Most likely, it's a ranger of some sort that has ability to stay by himself. But what kind of matches that?
What's the question?
What range carry do we pick up for Balkan Bears? Because I'm presuming dual lanes with Earthshaker babysitting the top lane, maybe roaming around. So I want some sort of kind of range, self-sustained farmer in the safe lane. What works out for Balkan Bears?
See, traditionally, Exist will be picking up a Morphling here, but you're up against an Ancient Apparition, you're up against a Rubik. it sucks. It's a really bad pick. So although that's what they normally would go, maybe just have to go for like a gyrocopter, emphasize that negative armor from the dazzle, and try to do something with that. I don't feel like you're going to be able to win a single target battle against the Juggernaut. So I think AoE emphasis could be a good idea. End of the day, though, I mean, it's really difficult. I almost got to say, like, just go all in on like a Faceless Void and try to upset Arrow the way Arrow was able to upset Empire in the game that he played the Void, because you're already dealing with so much pressure from the ultimates of NiP. Every single one of them is so impactful, especially the globals in conjunction.
All right, yeah. Ninjas and pajamas while we wait for Balkan Bears to pick up. Obviously, neither one, you or I, don't really have a good suggestion here. Ninjas and pajamas, though, do have a very powerful lineup of their own defensive triangle around the Juggernaut. Mid Zeus and an off-lane Magnus. Now, off-lane Magnus was not seen for a very long time, right? It used to be a thing. Then we ran more mid Magnus, and then we never really returned back to off-lane Magnus. Do you think off-lane Magnus is really all that viable? He's easily zoned out. He doesn't have the ability to go back to jungle. Do you think this is actually a viable offlaner?
Well, it depends on what supports he's up against. Like hard counter supports, no, I don't think he's a good offlane option. But he gives enough to the Juggernaut here that if as long as he gets to level 4, he's still contributing because he's giving him power to the Juggernaut, allowing Juggernaut to farm go crazy, and eventually he gets the blink level. I feel with things like the bounty rune and runes that he can rotate on, that he has more strength there because he's able to contribute in a real way. And especially on the Radiant side, he's going to be in the off lane, but he's going to rotate towards that top rune, which you always have to worry about him skewering you up. Right. So essentially, that takes the rune away from BBC because they don't want to go up against the Magnus Skewer. And I feel like that does bring a lot of strength to the hero.
So kind of the same situation which we've seen with kind of other offlaners that have been picked up recently is that the addition of the bounty rune and the guaranteed top lane rune, the guaranteed off lane rune, kind of makes that the off lane a little bit more open to offlaners that wouldn't traditionally be able to make it work. So we are going to be seeing Balkan Bears are going to be running that dual lane, at least it seems like from their pickups. They're not doing anything funky like a one-position axe and an off-lane Earthshaker. This is going to be Exist playing the Gyrocopter, or traditional Gyrocopter carry. I think it kind of fulfills the lineup, right? It's a ranged carry that is self-sustained in some manner, right? He's able to deal with the off-lane Magnus by himself and won't feel that much pressure if the Earthshaker chooses to roam around.
Very much so. Can just real quick before we unpause, can you look at Earthshaker here?
Yes,
oh man.
I saw him. That's actually Hani's effigy.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
he
badass.
actually has that exact effigy. So it looks like Earthshaker's trying to climb up a ladder. He put the description is Marvin's Room or something like that, which is a reference to a song that I don't know.
Yeah. For one song you don't know, man. I've listened to your stream, dude. You have like the widest variety. But
it's everything but country. Well, and obviously I'm playing Dota, so I'm not going to listen to classical while I'm playing. But there's a little bit of jazz in there, a lot of hip-hop, a lot of rock.
You don't like the K-pop? GGGG?
No. Well, actually, I do have the GGG song in there, just because everyone likes that. But I don't have any other K-pop. I do have some anime music, actually. I'll take that back. I have some anime music, so I probably have some J-pop, I guess. I got the Full Metal Alchemist theme song is good.
Ooh, yeah. There's a lot of good theme songs out of that. FMA and Brotherhood.
Yeah.
But enough about that. We've got lanes progressing. We've got wards going down. A lot of pings on quite a few of them, so maybe Limp will find some easy dewarding. But he went Arc Lightning level 1, so in this position, he's not really going to be looking for dewarding so much as just obviously the early CS. And it's going to be a bounty rune fight that looks to be favoring NiP across the board, giving 2 bounty runes away because they're so scared of that Magnus Skewer. Oh, man. You were talking about Magnus maybe having a tough time in this metagame in the offlane, but now he's halfway to level 2.
Yeah, that's obviously very important. The Magnus is pretty heavily reliant, not as much as some other offlaners, but level 2 is pretty key for him, right? So he's actually able to have Shockwave to spam out in order to get some CS or harass the support that's trying to go for him, and he has the escape mechanism of Skewer. So this obviously is going to make a big difference for him. He only really needs 3 CS, and he'll get to that level 2 marker. Meanwhile, the offlaner of the side of Balkan Bear is going to be Weeha's Axe. Now, they are not actually running the dual lane. The Dazzle is going to be sitting up here in the top lane, trying to zone out the Magnus. Now, do you think this is a proper play? Because the Dazzle and Axe would make it so the Axe is able to be in lane a lot more aggressively, but they are facing a very dangerous lane in the Ancient Apparition, Rubik, and Juggernaut. That's a lot of damage out.
Yeah, I don't think that the Dazzle would actually allow him to have much more stake in that lane than without the Dazzle. Essentially, that magic damage coming from Chilling Touch and Ice Vortex, it is actually something that they can't deal with that early, because Axe starts out like Ring of Protection and Stout Shield. The Berserker's Call gives them plus 40 armor. That's all about dealing with physical harassment. But when it comes down to you in the Ice Vortex, getting spun on by Era while eating Chilling Touch right clicks from the supports, it just doesn't give you the option. So that dual off lane would be nearly suicidal, and I would almost guarantee First Blood would be fed by BBC down bottom. So Axe instead jungles very early, gets a nice Satyr spawn, which is actually going to put him halfway to level 3.
Yeah, that is. Axe can actually jungle pretty proficiently if he gets lucky on spawns, but that's the big question mark. Are you going to be lucky enough? Do you get Satyrs for your meeting camps, or do you get Centaurs? Do you get Hellbear Smashers and Centaurs, or do you get Satyrs in the hard camp? You know, there's
the Clint Eastwood jungling. You gotta ask yourself, do you feel lucky?
Oh my God! I was like, what? I don't get this reference at all, and I know Clint Eastwood quite well. Oh, that was good. Well done, Blaze. You stumped me on that one. So they abandoned the offlane. Ninjas of Pajama is going to have a perfectly good time at bottom, free farming and pulling everything else. Meanwhile, Yapsor is sitting here in the middle lane trying to get the block off on Limp. Can't get it right now. Goes for it. Hits the stun. Enchant Totem. They miss the Light Strike Array, and Hook is actually going to die. The creeps get him. First blood goes to Limp. Oh, disaster for Balkan Bears. Oh, why?
I actually gotta just commend Limp's game sense there, realizing that, yeah, well, I dodged this, I'm surviving for a moment longer, but Lena's got 4 creeps on her. She's this low with this little HP and armor.
Whoop.
And, yeah, just
you know, some fun. That was not the play he wanted there. He's gonna try and outrun the missile. Unfortunately, it's not gonna die. Oh, is it gonna die to the tower? Oh, it dies to the tower. Lucky him. That by the way, I wish that would change to the gyrocopter missile. Please let the tower do more to the homing missile. It's so obnoxious being chased back to a tier 2 tower. And still being afraid for your life because the missile is tanking up all the tower hits and there's a gyrocopter just running after you.
I feel like if it does any more, though, the missile becomes pretty useless. I don't know. Like, maybe if you made the spell cost very, like, significantly less, you can make the tower do that, but I don't know. It feels like he has to skewer, as long as he's, like, oh no, he's just gonna take it here on the front line. It's not even like being maxed out or anything. I don't know. Well, let's see. 6.84 will have some changes, but
listen, Blaze, you clearly have not felt the frustration of an offlane player going up against a support gyrocopter.
I felt the glee going as being the maxing homing missile gyrocopter.
Oh my God, you're disgusting. That's why. No one listened to Blaze when it comes to patching. He clearly doesn't know what he's talking about because he's biased towards his own heroes. Bias, I say.
Too true. But, you know, Gyrocopter doesn't get enough love. Let's just make his call down twice the radius it currently is and give him more love. Just
all right, Blaze.
Get more Gyrocopter games.
I swear to God, variety. You better not have Ice Frog in your contact list.
Let
me guess, you're a fan of Juggernaut, Troll, and Sniper, aren't you?
Oh,
Before
so
this
good.
patch.
It's so good. I think that they should just remove the recipe requirement of Yule Scepter. Really, they just take away the damage received when you activate Mask of Madness. Just keep those heroes, keep those items, and you'll have a great game of Dota. But we have Magnus.
Oh no!
Is not really the ideal, and he's gonna go down after the missile connects.
Oh, why didn't he just throw out the skewer sooner before the gyrocopter caught up to him? At least he would have had a chance. But again, he accidentally skewers the heroes back with him. He does have, I guess, some stacks he can farm up. Do you think they actually give this to Magnus, or is this going to be given to the Juggernaut?
They'll just empower the Juggernaut, and he'll clean that up. I think the Magnus can stay in experience range, and that's fine, but they don't really care enough about his Blink Dagger compared to Era getting like 4 or 5 slotted.
How's mid lane doing? Limp is currently sitting 26-0 up against Hooks 27-5, so quite even in CS, but of course Limp did pick up the first blood against Selena. Puts him at a significant advantage in economy, at least.
So what do you think about the fact that the Rocket Barrage is being maxed out by Exist here? It's actually a pretty uncommon build these days. When you look at like the scaling of Rocket Barrage, and it starts out really strong at 11 damage per missile. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it kind of feels like I've seen the 1-4-1 build, and I've seen the 1-1-1 stats build, but I don't think the Rocket Barrage is all that viable, especially against this team where he's never going to be close to them for extended periods of time.
Yeah, and if he is, he's probably in some serious trouble, right? Like the Juggernaut's on top of you, or the Magnus is, right on top of you as well. Like that's probably unlikely to be next to heroes and be happy with that situation. So I would agree. I'm a little bit concerned about this build, especially since the physical damage of Omni Slash is going to be the primary way they deal with the BKB. Yeah, so we're in some trouble here. The Omni Slash going to be able to burst him down before he gets off the Fissure. Weehaw does get a really two-man call. Dunks one, dunks two, double kill.
Oh, I gotta love that Shadow Wave damage. Even at level 1, doing a little bit of extra burst there, and oh yeah, some spins on top of that. Some really fortunate spins, but still a great catch out of the two supports. Like, that's not something you usually do with Trinkle Boots, but with the dive, they counteract them, and they actually make that Earthshaker's death completely worth it. That's, yeah, a great exchange for BBC.
Hook's got himself a double damage rune. Meanwhile, NiP are actually going to rotate up to top lane. See if they can't catch out Exist. Hanskin gets close enough for the telekinesis, and it's probably a kill with Skewer. Oh, they actually don't have enough for Skewer and Shockwave, so never mind. I don't think they can get this kill no matter what. We'll see, though.
Yeah, it's tough. He's like, hasn't even had the bottle this entire laning phase, so he's just had a really rough time of being able to spam the way he wants to, and I kind of feel like, yeah, the Rubik's wasting his time. He'll make his move elsewhere, and yeah, we'll see. Obviously, we saw some early ward play going back and forth, but now Limp is a little... He sees this Earthshaker with the mid-observer ward, and that's going to keep him covered. In the meantime, Levi is going to get caught out on the top lane, but it's not really going to be the kill, because as you mentioned, the Magnus is really lacking in mana.
So no big problems on either. Oh my god, the Lina actually dies. Limp managed to get the Lightning Bolt, and with the ultimate going off, that was actually enough damage to get the kill. So well played by Limp, seeing the opportunity, even up against the Earthshaker, who was sitting middle lane. The Fissure was just a bit too late.
900 damage. Zeus, he's got some burst, and Lina needs to respect it a little bit. She doesn't really have much strength to work with early on. A lot of magic stick charges, good heals, but if you don't get the millisecond to cast that magic stick, thanks to the mini stun of the lightning bolt, then you're in for some trouble. So actually going to be a lot of good kills going against Lina, but Weehaw does find his Vanguard. It kind of feels like a lot of these drafts are set up so that although one of the other cores will fail, Weehaw will succeed. He'll build himself up, and then he'll be able to kind of snowball that advantage. Like, here he's got the Vanguard and a bunch of Ancient stacks that will allow him to just farm up that much more swiftly.
All right, level 8 Axe with a Vanguard. Weehaw is going to be stalling up his Blink Dagger for this game. Kind of would have liked to see him get the fast blink just because the synergy with the Axe and the Lina. I think there's enough value there that an early blink would have been nice, but if he can still get the Blink Dagger pretty quickly thanks to that double kill, and it looks like he should. Never mind, this Vanguard's completely worth it when you have an Ancient stack.
Yeah, exactly. He just kind of turns it into the Ancient triple stack, farms up double creep wave down bottom, and just a minute after picking up the Vanguard, he is about 1,400 gold into the 2250.
Yeah, so this is totally fine now.
Ooh, mid? Could there be a kill here? You know the Zeus damage a little bit better than I do, but this Lina, she's only gotten 684, and then of course she does have the magic stick.
Yeah, that could totally be a kill. Yeah, he starts out with the Arc Lightning, Lightning Bolt, Arc Lightning again, pops the ultimate. That could have been a kill, but it would have been close. I would definitely agree with that. He may still go for. She's regened a little bit more. She does have 7 magic stick charges. Maybe that's why. Making that read, that'll obviously make a difference.
Yeah, I think he'll just snipe the rune and get somebody to move in, try to help him out. Hanskin making his way there. 1 Fade Bolt, and that's a guaranteed kill. But at least for now, it's just going to be walking away, and the double damage will go to Magnus, actually.
So after not getting his bottle for so long, they give him the rune, I guess, to make up for it. Meanwhile, they do have Seal Kid in the bottom lane farming up because obviously the Juggernaut is not needed for him to be in lane. He's busy farming up his stacks that the supports kindly set up for him. It's kind of like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. The supports scratch his back by setting up stacks, and because he has to go clear those stacks, it frees up the bottom lane.
Oh, Exist dropping very low, but he uses that rocket barrage. We weren't certain if he'd get much chance to use it, but with the shallow grave, that's 5 extra seconds of DPS, and he actually brings down the Magnus despite the RP committal.
Yeah, big difference there. And Gyrocopter just getting that extra bit of farm. He was falling a bit far behind the rest of the carries. Obviously, hasn't been able to farm up stacks like some of these other heroes like Axe and Juggernaut have, or be able to get the early first kill like Limp did. So he was falling a bit farther behind, but that kill will seriously help him out quite a bit.
Yeah, it's interesting there's actually been no empowers placed out on Era just yet, but he's still farming up triple stacks, no problem, because Healing Ward, Mask of Madness, you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want, as this Juggernaut, Quelling Blade, and Rigavac will giving him plenty of efficiency too. So Ruby's going to leech 6 off of this, get his spell steal out, and what spells was he really looking for? Obviously, we always talk about Fissure, huge pickup, Lightstrike Array is not too bad either, but what are do you think that there's any value in stealing any of Dazzle's spells?
Maybe Shallow Grave, maybe. But obviously you're facing up against an Axe, so it's unlikely. Levy's going to die in top lane. Good pick off with the Ice Blast. The Shockwave doesn't need to land because the Ancient Apparition tick damage is more than enough.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But still saying within the radius to get a little bit of... Actually, looks like no, he was not in gold or experience radius for that. Magnus just kind of slightly out of range when he ticked over, so that's a little lame for the Magnus, who's already had a pretty rough start, but... In the end, Ancient Apparition, he loves that golden experience as much as anyone, and the Midas is not going to be his choice. What is he's buying the Staff of Wizardry, selling it back over and over, and now a Point Booster is what he picks up. So I guess he was having a problem with his quick buy.
So he actually wants to go straight Aghanims instead of stalling it up with the Midas. It feels a little weird, but this, to me, I read it as Seal Kid feeling confident he's going to have a lot of time to farm. Pick up. Oh, yep. So we're in some trouble. Going to be hit by the Ice Blast. They do have the follow-up, and Shan Totem hits. They get the kill thanks to the Zeus ultimate goes out. Hanskin going to be traded away, though, as Weehawk gets that pick off thanks to the Blink Dagger initiation.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They do expect the AA to be able to farm up pretty much as one position for another couple of minutes, or probably more like 10 minutes, honestly, where he just kind of stays in the jungle and stays on the safe lane while using his global ultimate to contribute to the game as a whole. And actually going to go for a skewer play. I mean, Limp's here, but it still exists on the run quickly with the phase boots, and it looks like they will bring him very, very low, and the Fissure block is going to turn it around. Very nicely done.
That was a beautiful turn on the right side. We do have Hook coming in. He's got his Laguna Blade. Hanskin lands the Light Strike Array, and Hanskin's dead.
That actually is just this River Ward in the lane. And there's no way he has the vision to do that otherwise, but now they have the vision to also go for the Blink Call, and that is a very nice chain of kills. This puts BBC back in this game dramatically, actually.
Yeah, most certainly. 1 kill turns to 2 to 3 and 5 to 8 now. Ninjas in pajamas losing that bit of control here. 1,000, actually more like almost 2,000 gold and over 2,000 experience lead for Balkan Bears.
Yeah, and Weehawk's blink timing was perfectly fine. Like that, I mean, just getting involved already after the Vanguard. Ancient stacks for the win.
Yeah, it really goes to show the strength of that one. What other hero does that? There's another hero that goes for like the Vanguard, and it's only because of Ancient stacks that really makes it worth it.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but for some reason it's escaping my mind. Fear plays it a little bit and is able to kind of do that. I mean, obviously you see Bristleback farming Ancients while tanking it up a bit, but I don't think that's what you're thinking of.
Oh. There's also the Tidehunter, not Vanguard, but goes for like the 0-4-4 build, right? We see those kind of builds because you don't need Ravage if you're going to farm up an Ancient stack that is going to give you the levels for Ravage anyway, right? Sure. It gives you the gold for Blink Dagger. So it's that kind of commitment, right? It's basically making a commitment to farm up an Ancient stack, knowing that if you get that Ancient stack, you'll be able to get what you need anyway. The Roshan is going to be found here for Ninjas in Pajamas. They went for a 3-man smoke gank into it. Doesn't look like Balkan Bears are going to be able to find the opportunity. Now, they did just have this Satyr was inside the Roshan pit and ran out in order to go stack. So this is a perfect opportunity for NiP not only take Roshan, knowing that BBC felt pretty confident that no one was going to do it during that time, but also they know, or at least should anyway, that there's an Ancient stack, and that could be something they clear out in time, as Era would obviously do it very quickly. Yaps are in some trouble. Going to need to hit the Fissure here, but not going to get in time. Omni Slash goes out. And this will mean a tier 1 tower as well.
Dire's bottom tower
Oh yeah,
is
easily. They actually probably going to start pushing on the tier 2 here and try to force BBC to react a little bit. I mean, the Dazzle doesn't have the weave yet, surprisingly. He's about to hit level 9, and I assume he'll pick it up then. But he actually went for a second point in Poison Touch. So when a level where you almost always have weave, no matter what the skill build, the second point of Poison Touch delays it. And yeah, it's just a little bit awkward from him. But either way, just gonna go back to farming the jungle. They've got the Empower now on Era, so any stacks, any Ancients, anything will be working pretty well for him. It looks like Hanskin will oblige on the Radiant Ancients. So in the meantime, the tier 1 tower is going to be pressured heavily. Exist with the Aquila pushing it, and it should go down pretty quickly. He's got the Ancient stacks brewing as well, this time I think for the Gyrocopter rather than the Axe. But he's missed a couple of stacks there. You're talking about the Satyr moving around. Just a quick announcement is Satyr Banisher is not the best stacking creep. It's very short range. But we do see now an RP, skewer back, Weehaw, gonna be cleaned up, and AA to get that farm, moving even more rapidly towards that Ag Scepter. And not only is he gonna get it at a reliable time, but oh, the spin. Era will be fine.
It'll be
But
good.
yeah, it'll be synced up really well with Zeus and his potential damage output, I think. Like, combining the Ag's AA Blast with the Zeus is actually going to be enabling them to get kills on almost any low HP hero. Like the Lina, the Dazzle. Shallow Grave will delay it for 5 seconds, but that's 5 out of 17.
What do you think the reasoning is for Manta
Dire's
over S
bottom
and Y on
tower
the
is
Juggernaut?
under attack.
That's tough, honestly, because most games, you're looking at the counter helix, you're looking at the Echo Slam, both are just helped out by the illusions, and
Yeah.
that's something that's just, I mean, the Gyrocopter's going to clean them up quickly. You're unlikely to dodge a Light Strike Ray or a Laguna Blade with it, so I don't think you can reliably say that's the reason. So I would have to say it's just his game plan is to split push. It's just to go ahead and use those illusions to start things off to get some siege damage, and it might be their consideration for breaking high ground.
Oh my god, I need to pay more attention to his bottom lane. Get another kill. Steel Kid, pick off there in the jungle. They're also going to be able to find Exist. Jesus. This game is not being merciful to me. 8 to 9, 17.5 minutes in. We're probably
It's been a
gonna
long day, dude.
We're going to probably have more here in the middle lane.
Yeah, I mean, this Rubik's, he's got Rocket Barrage, so now that skill that was kind of good for the Gyrocopter early is now amazing for the Rubik, because he's got Telekinesis to keep that target in range and do the full set of damage. Weave will come out from the Dazzle, and they will just kind of, Era's just like, yeah, I really don't care. I can lose all my armor, I can be slowed down by Shadow Poison, but in the end, you don't have your initiation. We've seen Weehaw and his movements.
Yeah, they still have the Aegis for another 2 minutes as well. Ice Blast comes in. Misses anyone on the side of Balkan Bears. And this is probably them giving up the tier 1 tower. Honestly, I don't think you fight into the Aegis at this point in time. They have some okay items coming up for Balkan Bears. The Lina's actually quite farmed. It's going for the Yule Scepter, soon to be Aghanim Scepter. They need to farm up on Yapzor and Exist. Well, this is actually going to be a S&Y for him. So S&Y Gyrocopter and the Manta on the Juggernaut. Feels like opposite day.
Well, one thing to mention about the difference between S and Y and Manta Style is the agility that you get out of Manta Style. Empower is just all about building up your base damage, and you're going to get more base damage out of the Manta Style just based on the fact that the Manta gives you 26, whereas the S and Y only gives you 16. So it's just a small difference, but it's amped up by that 50% boost that the Magus brings.
Sneaky Ancient Apparition got the deny on the bottom tower and TP'd out before Balkan Bears could respond. And NiP, I mean, they were actually, Balkan Bears were ahead, and then Roshan happened, Tier 1 happened, Tier 1 middle, top, and all of a sudden Ninjas and Pajamas are actually now ahead by 2,000 gold instead of being behind. Now Balkan Bears are going to go for the middle Tier 1 tower here, but Tier 2 and top lane is going to be traded off, and this is not a successful trade for Balkan Bears.
Yeah, it's actually going to really hurt them. They're not going to be able to control their jungle very effectively against these observer wards NiP just placed out, as well as the lack of tower. They're going to try to make something else of it, but it seems unlikely that will succeed. The A just stays back, he keeps farming, and then 250 gold if they don't catch him. That's going to be the Aghanim Scepter. So, yeah, Seal Kid in a great spot. They scout things out just to make sure, and it's, yeah, not going to be a very effective approach from BBC. They've got to find a way to control their side of the map, and I think that means a Gem of Truce like committal on Weehaw.
I kind of like that idea, that they need to be able to just take over the map as best as possible. They're feeling so much pressure from Ninjas and Pajamas split pushing that if you're actually seen when you try and address that split pushing, it's obviously going to be very ineffective rotations. Such as right now, where Levy's trying to go for the ward, but it's going to be countered out by Era with the Omni Slash. They even get the Ice Blast that is going to force back Exist as well. 3 kills everywhere you look, and Era's Manta is certainly paying out big dividends with all this split pushing and trading off that's going on.
Yeah, he actually doesn't use the active very often, but later on when he gets more stats, he's going to go for Scotty into Butterfly, I believe. So he's already got a very stat-oriented build. The Illusions will get all the benefit from that. So when he does kind of disengage, when he goes somewhere else to farm, those Illusions are left in the wake, and Exist is just left to clean those up. So yeah, overall, just a nice movement from Era. Great item progression. He just knows, he has a very great mind for optimizing his builds, and when you're with the Magnus, you want to go stats, and the Manta, it's a minor comparison to the S and Y, but it is a pretty big difference with the end game there. When you have 6 item slots, Manta is one that you want to be in your inventory, the S and Y not so much when you're just prioritizing all those stats. So it's just an efficiency thing, really.
The scouting ultimate coming out from Limp. Not too sure where everyone's at, so he goes ahead and just throws it out there, reveals some of the Balkan Bears members. Now, Weehaw wants to go on Unison Fawn here in the bottom lane, but it's not going to happen. Net worth-wise, we've got a 14K net worth on the Juggernaut right now. 10K on both Lina as well as Gyrocopter. Big difference between those top farmers. And it shows in the net worth as Ninjas and Pajamas are ahead by that much, but Limp's going to be caught here. Light Strike Array, Laguna Blade, they're not messing around. They want that kill on Zeus, and they want it now. Era's coming in. He's got Omni Slash up in 18 seconds. But without Omni Slash, he's going to need a bit of extra backup. Scotty is a good amount of stats for him, but he still wants to be careful, particularly versus the Axis. That is probably his biggest issue right now, is out of everybody, it's going to be that Blade Mail Axe.
Yeah, but I mean, and the Omni Slash is not really that big of a deal. It's just he's going to have to make sure that his life steal counts. I mean, it is essentially he's returning 100% damage. He's life stealing only 20%, so he's got to make sure that he's only dealing directly with the axe when he's pretty much the last man standing. But now they're going to actually find him out here. Omni Slash will come out before the blink. Nope, just the right clicks and no Blade Mail to go against. So pretty easy pick for them, and mega kill for Era. So he's going to be catapulted very quick to that Butterfly, where I think they look to end the game. I think that's the time where you hit your biggest power spike as the Juggernaut. Getting that Butterfly out, getting the Aegis the Immortal, and looking at high ground before BBC can really get the items they need. I mean, it's not like they have to end the game at a certain point in time. When you look at the carry versus carry, Juggernaut versus Gyrocopter, not only does Juggernaut have the advantage of just singling out the Gyrocopter, where Gyrocopter AoEs everybody down, but you've also got the Ancient Apparition, Ice Blast, and Empower on your side. Ice Blast preventing Gyrocopter from lifestealing, and the Empower just making your items worth more. So overall, I still think that Era has more potential in the late game, but there's no reason to wait when you hit that Butterfly spike.
Now, are you set on the Butterfly? Do you think there's a chance he goes for like a Bash or Abyssal?
Basher Abyssал's okay, but I don't think it's... I think he's still going to be able to do more with the Magnus, assuming that he trusts Giannis Fan to do anything as far as RPs go. I mean, even a 2-man RP, it still makes the Butterfly more worthwhile.
Yeah, there's just too much value in the stat attribute to Empower, being able to increase that up, so... Completely agree. Weehaw's going to be able to find Jonas some fun, pulls him back a bit, but the rest of Balkan Bears are not there to respond with anything, and will just be forced away. Hanskin is about to pick up his Blink Dagger. What a happy little guy he's going to be. Unless he gets ganked.
No, I mean, even then, he should survive long enough to
yeah.
pick up the item. He just wants to get it from the side shop most conveniently and cancels his TP. He says, oh, well, I got the Blink now. And whatever. It works out in the end. The Dazzle does pick up the Geometry Sight, though, and this could be an opportunity to try to regain the map. We'll see who they put it on. Axe is certainly the tankiest target, but he's also the initiator. So you don't really want your main strength guy going in to hesitate, saying, oh crap, I don't want to commit because I have this gem. So it looks like Levi will just keep it on the back line, and they'll try to go for the smoke play just outside the vision of the Radiant Observer Ward, I believe.
They know the Juggernaut is around. He threw those Manta Illusions forward, but they're going to run to Jonas some fan. Quick reaction there from Weehaw. They do actually pop the Zeus ultimate, but there's going to be nothing else for Era to do without the rest of Ninjas and Pajamas nearby. Maybe they're actually going to go for this one. Yule Scepter manages to catch the Juggernaut Light Strike Array. Does land. Laguna Blade goes out. Era still has the Omni Slash, but he's already been called up. Weehaw gets that one. Double kill for Exist and the crew. They're going to be able to now stun up Seal Kid. An additional kill for Balkan Bears as they back away victors of the fight and will now actually go into the Roshan pit, which is going to be coming up right as they show their pretty little faces. Look at that.
Yeah.
Bing! Roshan appears.
Beautiful. And PVC need that kind of luck to actually get them back in the game. Finding a double pick off now, turned it into a triple, and then going for Roche immediately. That gives them a chance to really make this a game, because otherwise I feel like NiP, they had pretty much 5 minutes, and then they were going to be able to just bring this one down. So it's really nice that DBC get to put up a fight, get a good smoke play, turns it into even more profit. And you gotta feel that, like, most likely Era was just spamming his Manta style hardcore coming out of that Yule Scepter, trying to get the Light Strike Ray dodge, but timing issue, spam issue, either way, the stun connects before he can invulnerability frame dodge it, and that kill is critical. I mean, losing the Juggernaut. It's actually him going for, it looks like a, yeah, it has to be a BKB.
I like that pickup. I think it's a necessity now that he can't just rely on spin, clearly. Will also make him significantly tankier as well. So I think that's a fine pickup. Won't be caught in that same scenario. Again, now the rest of Ninjas and Pajamas are going to push out with a 5-man smoke. Manta Illusions. Gonna force Balkan Bear's hands here. Era's gonna come in, reveals Weha. They're gonna be able to burst him down. It's the Omni Slash again, kind of questionable whether or not it was needed, but gets the quick kill either way.
Yeah, they're just saying that they're not playing around. The no holds barred. They're gonna go ahead and just try to throw everything they've got to get these kills, and then try to, of course, primarily claim the Gyrocopter's Aegis Immortal. If they can do that, they feel that they're still in a very commanding position in this game, but they were unsettled a little bit, and that's why Era goes back for the BKB.
Right.
I mean, like, if you think about what the BKB does this game, the Blade Mail is probably the biggest thing it negates. The other stuff, like the Light Strike Array, the Fisher stuns, obviously Earthshaker brings a lot of stuns, but the fact is, he's still eating Laguna Blade, he's still eating Axe Taunt, right clicks, a lot of stuff like that. Overall, it's not like an item that will take everything off the table. It's just one that he has to worry about less.
Right. The push continues. Hook is going to try and split push in exchange for the tier 2 tower going down in the middle lane, but unlikely to be able to actually claim the tower himself. NiP are already responding with force. Era and the rest of the crew probably not going to push in anytime soon. They're facing up against an Aegis on a Gyrocopter. Pretty unnecessary. They can just continue to out-farm their opponents, which is what, which is some of what got them in the lead in the first place. Also really good fights, but...
Yeah. It seems to be NiP's thing today, is they fight really, really well when it counts. And so far, these games have been working really well for them up until that smoke play that just caught them completely off guard. And now they're going to look to hold bottom, but the Ancient Apparition is in a great spot on the opposite side of the map, looking for that global ultimate. For now, though, it's going to be the tier 2 falling freely. They're not looking to contest until they actually hit the steps, and that's why the Ancient Apparition's up here. Because if he's in the top left corner of the map, and he's throwing all the way down to like the bottom left, then you're going to be seeing a really big Ice Blast radius, which will follow up with all the different spells NiP has. Yeah. So this is the best place for Seal Kid to be.
Yeah, and he can afford to like split push and farm up the jungle and do these other things while they wait. Balkan Bears, if they don't end up pushing out, well, Ancient Apparition just gets some farm. Kind of similar to what Jonas Amfan was doing inside the enemy jungle as well. Quick reactions does get him away from Weeha's axe. Now Seal Kid may be found slowing down Weeha, but that may not have been the correct decision. What a juke, though. Weeha just had a loss of where the Ancient Apparition went. I can't believe AA even threw down that seal, though. That was kind of odd. They're going to be able to get the Lina here. Hanskin, or maybe not. That was a self-Yule Scepter? Why?
I mean, just in case there was a quick instance of damage out that he had to dodge, he knew that he had to blink away. It's kind of like, why would a puck phase shift right when he sees the enemy? It's just a kind of knee-jerk reaction that in this case gets him out.
Alright, so it is 30 minutes in, 11-13. Scotty, Jonas Amfan has the Shadow Amulet, Hanskin. I really like Shadowblade on Magnus. I mean, it works in the same way that it does for the Earthshaker, in that positioning for you being able to jump in with your ultimate is so critical that the invisibility helps out drastically, right? Even if you don't get the Shadow Blade hit, obviously that doesn't really matter if you hit a really good RP.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that it's, the people don't really think about blinking out of Shadow Blade enough, but it actually is a great way to engage. It's why I was, okay, the ward catching out Limp, and how can you even fight this after you lose the Zeus? I actually think they just fully disengage, and they'll try, but the call down second hit goes on to 2. It's very difficult to get out of here. Hanskin, it looks like he's going to have to sacrifice himself for the blink. Giannis Man's still sticking around, no TP for him.
Meanwhile,
Somebody's got to die, right? Like, this feels like too good of a pick-off on the Zeus to not kill somebody, but Era just spins to win, and he's going to be able to disengage too. They actually got out with everybody here. Very clean escape.
yeah, very well done. The Aegis is now down, so that was kind of a last hurrah in some ways for Balkan Bears in this period of time where they were actually the ones controlling the game and could have potentially been forcing the fights. Well, that's now gone with the Aegis down. I think NiP will return back to aggression. In fact, you're going to see it here in the middle lane. They go for Weah, and they have the Omni Slash ready to go, though it may not be necessary as they, well, now throw it out, making sure the Unisenfon doesn't actually die to the Axe solo. They blow the ultimate and will now push out top lane. There's no tier 2, and I highly doubt they're going to go uphill without Omni Slash, so chances are NiP are just going to back out, take over the enemy jungle as best as possible, but mainly looking to play the farm game.
They have a gem now, so Seal Kid with the Ice Vortex can just check out all the cliffs here. Lightning Bolt as well. They're going to get map control completely back. This is a fresh ward. The other one is fresh too. These were just placed, and they're both going to be taken care of pretty quickly, I think. But for now, Seal Kid out of mana. It looks like he's going to juice back up the fountain.
Notice some fun. Nice. Fisher into the Laguna Blade. Yapzor still here with the response. Echo Slam onto 2. Nicely placed. Light Strike Array will finish off the Rubik. The right clicks takes out Seal Kid. And even Limp almost getting caught there. Manages to self-Yules and blink away. Hook is on hot pursuit. Light Strike Array does land. Limp. He needs some time to be able to get that Blink Dagger away, but the Midas Armor is just doing so much work. Hook's right clicks are more than enough to get the kill. Oh, God. Air now pops his BKB in range of Hook, but realizes this is a bad engagement. He is not going to try and force this. At the same time, we did have the tier 3 tower die in the top lane, so it's something that Ninjas in Pajamas did pick up, but they lost 4.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that Era backed off when he did. I guess he thought he could do something to the Lina or maybe save the Zeus, and there was probably a team communication that called him back home. But honestly, if he just kind of stuck to the racks there, he always has to spin TP away as long as you have eyes on the Axe. So I feel like he could have stuck around a little bit longer, but still worried about that extra pick off. The Axe call kind of just ruining his day. So goes ahead and just TP's back early. So now they're in a position where they're trying to hold. They'll get the lift up. They won't get the deny, though. Cheeky plays from Hanskin.
At this rate, I want to see Hook building into some damage, man. Like, he's already got a little bit out of the BKB and obviously the intelligence stats as well. But I want to see, like, a big damage item because it's amazing but the Weave is just doing so much work and allowing Lina with all those attack speed buffs from Fiery Soul to dish out a lot of physical damage.
Yeah, I think a crit would be a perfectly reasonable point of progression, or an MKB if you're wanting to focus Juggernaut in particular. But yeah, it's just right-click Lina is pretty legit, and at this point, he doesn't need anything to really still bring his full utility as the mid-hero. Like, I mean, a Refresh Orb is your general last item for Lina, and he still could consider that. But if he went for a right-click build, he probably puts out the same damage from that item slot, just the extra potential right-click. But Shadowblade finished on Magnus, potential to obviously engage at multiple angles, multiple vectors. Just finding that sneak attack and finding that more powerful ultimate. But beyond that, no real progression from NiP for a while. In fact, the Zeus got his Bloodstone and then lost a ton of charges. 2 deaths in a row.
On the side of Balkan Bears, we do have the regression for Gyrocopter, which is going to be the MKB. It'll be up soon, but not just yet. Wants to be able to hold on to buyback gold if necessary. It's this late into the game where you do need to start thinking about buybacks a little bit, especially since NiP, with all that physical damage on Juggernaut, he takes down your towers very quickly, as we saw with him taking the tier 3 in the top lane.
Going to look for the Rosary spawn. They're looking a little early, though, and it is not going to be spawning for about 20 more seconds. But actually going to be blinking right into the Dazzle, and this could be a tough fight here. Weehaw's coming in looking for his opportunity, and at least Hanskin's gone. Oh, man. The potential follow-through.
The Laguna Blade once again find the free pickoff. The fight's all about Roshan. Weave has been blown though, and that is going to be a big loss here for Balkan Bears if the fight is forced. And honestly, they can't force it. They don't want to, but Rubik is a very small factor in the NiP damage. If for some reason Balkan Bears try and go into Roshan, Jonas and the rest of the crew will respond. Shadowblade up, moving forward. Again, the potential here is big.
And look at Sealkid's positioning again. He's staying very far back with the Ice Blast available, and he wants to hit it onto like 3 or 4 heroes. And with a good RP, that easily is possible. So I really like the Shadowblade movement and as well the Ancient Apparition position. But again, they find nothing, and now having to retreat, I feel this might just give BBC the Roche automatically.
Yeah, it seems they know Roshan is up. Weehaw even gets an invisibility rune. And Ninjas in pajamas. They get picked off here, and Weehaw's actually found the perfect target if he can get Sealkid, but they actually see him. He's got the gem. Never mind. Weehaw's going to be forced back. And now Roshan kind of spoiled for them. They're going to try and go for the RP. Lands on 4! What a setup from Jonas! As now we have the skewer back. Ice Blast is going to be able to wipe out almost all of them. Hook survives at the BKB, but not for long. Era gets that kill. Now moving to chase down Exist, who's pretty fast, but not quite as fast as Era. Still, the distance is enough. The Era just wants to back up and take that Roshan. What an RP. It was a slow game for a while there, boys, but boy, you had some fun with the clutch Shadowblade Blink 4-man RP. Easily wins the fight for NiP.
Yeah, that was just absolutely incredible. That's what they've been building up for a long time. It just goes to show what an off-lane Magnus can do if he's patient, if he can build himself up to what he needs to be, and here we see it. RP just setting things up perfectly. The best wombo combo you can ask for, and great follow-through. Now they have the Aegis on the Juggernaut. They have the Cheese on the Zeus. And that Abyssal Blade recently picked up. They can just go full offensive. I mean, really, BBC here, they have to be just shaking in fear after that one. As soon as the RP is back up, BBC, like, how do you position these fights? The Gyrocopter doesn't have that great of attack range. The Earthshaker, the Axe, they both have to be in it. Lina, kind of, to a degree. Like, it's really hard to find yourself in a position where you can actually focus down a target without committing yourself to something that is just going to devastate you.
Right. Man, that was pretty nasty. I like the fact that Sealkid just, like, drops the gems, too. Like, he doesn't even keep one of the gems on him. He's just like, meh, I've already kind of cleared out most of the wards, I would presume. The only ward that's left is Balkan Bear's very defensive one here on the jungle, and that doesn't matter too much right now to NiP. So he just puts the gems back. He's like, just in case I do get picked off, I don't want to let them have the opportunity to get a gem back, because right now Balkan Bears, their gem isn't up for another 2 minutes. So they're going to be kind of, you know, in a sense, blind to the Magnus initiation if it does come to that. So
yeah, Silka's actually still kind of changed his mind about that back and forth, but it seems like he will hang on to it for now.
All right, Sealkid, why are you messing with me like that? Huh? Why are you messing with me? I like how he takes.
Interesting decision though.
I mean, like he takes Levy's gem too, just an extra bit, you know.
Just realized this, but Hanskin stole Berserker's Call last fight. He can Blink Call and Ghost Scepter, and it'll just be a straight disable on all the heroes he hits.
That's pretty legit.
That's actually huge.
Yeah, he still got half the time. Zeus ultimate goes out. They see Weehaw. He force staffs himself deeper into the trees and blinks back into the base. So hoping to be able to find that opening, but weren't quite close enough.
And yeah, I mean, they were actually really fortunate to still have that gem on the Ancient Apparition when Axe was heading up, because if that wasn't the case, that invisible Axe probably could have just torn NiP's initiation apart. But because they saw him first, he uses his Force Staff to get away, and then they all walk into a small clump. Like, it was just perfectly set up for the side of NiP, and it's based on the fact that they were able to kind of scout out that Axe. So. Right. Yeah, in the end, I mean, that's an Invis rune that's kind of random to come into play, but it does happen, and that's just another nice piece of value that it can have. But either way, they took down a fresh ward placed by the Dire, as well as a Sentry, and map control is just the name of the game for NiP. They are dominating right now, but soon they'll commit. I mean, they have the Aegis, they have the Cheese, and they've got 2 minutes left on them, so looks like they'll just walk right up into the base.
Yep, Era kind of making that maneuver nice and quick. Already lays out enough damage to take out the range tracks before Balkan Bears can respond. But do they respond at all? They're going to be fighting into an Aegis here. Kiting around Era as best as possible, trying to stall him up. MKB starts coming out, doing some damage. We do have, don't forget, Jonas and Fawn sitting on the side here. The Shadow Blade's going to run out soon, but he could just hide himself in the trees. Of course, the counter ward. Did see some of them there. Healing ward in the back. The Weave's going to run out soon, and at that point in time, Era may make another commitment for some damage onto the building.
Yeah, Glyph is here. They're going to have to pop it very shortly. And really, this is not a forward momentum solution for them unless they catch Era out. But here comes Giannis Fan with the Invis under the Sentry Ward. And
RP, locks down 2. Here comes the Ice Blast as well. Skewer back is going to be able to finish off Exist. He is not getting away from this one with the Ice Blast. Just lays out whatever damage he can. Same goes with Hook, who throws out the Laguna Blade. Actually wins the fight, kills Zeus, and will be able to get out as well. Era fights up against Levy, gets that kill nice and quick. Exist with the buyback. Weha in the back, managing to take out already 2 different heroes thanks to the Culling Blade. Hook blinking forward. A little bit of question there. Era stalled up by Yapsor's Ghost Scepter. Era's just trying to lock down onto one of these heroes. He's got, just the bash, but it's not going to be good enough. He gives away that. And Balkan Bears can now kite around Juggernaut for round number 2. Yapsor doesn't actually have enough mana for a stun, but Era has nowhere to really run to. Nice man to dodge, but the rocket is still on top of him. He just really wants to kill onto Hook, but he's not going to be able to get it. Magic Immunity out from the spin. Weha will call him up eventually here, but never mind. It's not even needed. Beautiful kiting there from Balkan Bears, and NiP lose all 5. They get the melee racks in the process. Balkan Bears are definitely behind, but it gives them a significant jump in golden experience that keeps them kind of in this game.
Yeah, Gyrocopter did have to buy back for it after going down to the Ice Blast, but it just was a necessary thing to actually clean this one up. And we saw Lena's damage actually do a ton in that fight. Like, Gyrocopter's numbers are big. He did 8,000 that fight with his 2 lives because of the flat cannon and hitting everybody. But still, Lena's contributing a ton in single target. So, I mean, able to do 3,100 damage, not just through the Laguna, but through her right click, through her spells. Like, she did a lot of work there. And it's starting to be a position where NiP have to respect that a little bit more. And until they farm up, like maybe the refresher on Magnus, I'm not sure if they're actually confident in taking that second lane.
Scouting out Exist, just a little bit of Ice Blast harassment. It's 18 to 25 right now. Taking a look, net worth-wise, Ninjas and Pajamas are slightly ahead in golds, while Balkan Bears slightly ahead in experience. Those leads don't really matter as much. Other factors, such as, well, the net worth of the overall heroes, Juggernaut sitting at 28,000 compared to the 19K on Exist. If we had 28,000 on the Gyrocopter, you see that net worth lead, and it's really not that much. The problem is NiP have so much gold concentrated onto one hero that it allows the Juggernaut just to be able to practically solo Balkan Bears if they have utility around it. And most of the time they do, thanks to Jonas and Fun.
So we go ahead. We see that they're just gonna kind of farm out their side, try to maybe push in the tier 2 tower, but they don't really want to force anything against BBC just yet. The BBC just got a big rebound in golden experience. They feel that if they just play it with the 6-slot Juggernaut with the AI Blast, they still can really just take this to the late game. So the biggest thing, most important thing, is avoiding pickoffs, and that's why you see them all 5 together. NiP, they could be farming a little bit more efficiently, they could be taking part of the dire jungle, but they don't know that necessarily. They're worried about the aggressive stance for BBC, and until they start seeing heroes like the Axe on the map, they're actually just going to stay together and stay in a safe position.
Yeah, no point in risking anything when you're already ahead like this. So the position for Balkan Bears, I think they got to go for a smoke gank here. But do they have any smoke? They do. One on Yapsor. So that's a start. But it's always the question. These late game smokes are always so critical, and most of the time the enemy team is either going to smoke up around the same time or be prepared for it. Ninjas and Pajamas, well, they're going for their smoke right now. Are they going to be able to find a pickoff? Balkan Bears already retreating back to their base. A TP back. The rest run into the safety, the confines of their base. And nothing is found. So Ninjas and Pajamas, their smoke is wasted. Time for a Balkan Bears to do something similar.
Yeah, they have the opportunity. They'll look for it, but I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just better for Weehaw to move around a little bit more and get some better D-wards out. He's got the gem, he's got Blink and Force Staff, so it's not like he's caught on a cliff. And if they just move with like 2 heroes behind him, he should be able to feel confident just going and taking out some Observer wards. But I guess that global threat's always there. It's still a little bit risky, and I guess right now he's just going to farm safe and pretend he's bait. As far as the Radiant know, that's the case. I mean, they see one hero down bottom, Yapzor, and they see one hero up top, and that's Axe. And either one could feel like there could be 3 heroes sitting behind them.
The Roshan's going to be coming up in a minute here. In the meantime, though, NiP are going to start clearing through whatever vision is around the Roshan pit, taking away a counter and a regular ward. Good start for the Roshan setup, but you know Balkan Bears are going to contest you no matter what. As if they give up Aegis and Cheese, in my opinion, there's no coming back for Balkan Bears.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, obviously they showed what they could do against Era's Aegis Immortal earlier, so there is still the possibility. But when you're moving into refresher territory, that Cheese is more relevant, and just in general, their team fight in the hyper late game is not going to be as extensive. Honestly, like, it's not just that they have to take the Aegis and Cheese from NiP, is that they have to get it for themselves and do something with it, or this game's going to be out of hand.
NiP sitting on the high ground right now, making sure that if there is a smoke ink, it's going to come through this little clutch area, and that it's not going to be fun time for Balkan Bears. They do scout out the fact that Roshan is up, but also that Balkan Bears are not in the Roshan pit. So they just back up farm, and I presume are wanting to be able to get a superior lane setup than what they currently have. So pushing in middle lane with the Manta. You have the top lane naturally pushing thanks to super creeps. And perhaps a pickoff hook. Going to be found here. Abyssal Blade. No blink away! Era! Misses the opportunity there. Perhaps just not looking at his hero, looking somewhere else, but missed the opportunity for the quick Abyssal. They get the damage on Weehaw, which is going to prevent his blink dagger for a little bit longer until, nice, jumps away. Ice Blast revealed. Omni Slash, not in time. He didn't have the time to do it. So I won't call out Era for that.
They're going to just jump Roche, I think. They're just going to run in there as quickly as they can, and with everybody committed up top, this actually could be going the way of BBC. We'll see how quickly NiP get down there. Right now, they're global.
Oh, Scythe of Ice on the Era. Hook leading. Light Strike Array does land. Laguna Blade goes out. Yapzor coming in with the Echo Slam, but he's just a bit too late. He didn't have the Fissure. He tried to get in range. Hook now in some trouble. They do manage to get the call onto Era, bringing him low enough, and they can go ahead and give him the chop and take him out. Sure enough, that will end him. Zeus ultimate goes down, finishes off the Lina, down for 90 seconds. The rest of NiP, do they buy back? Limp actually managed to get a kill on the right-hand side, but following Exist. It's critical what Exist does in this fight. Ice Blast onto Levy. Jonas and Pan also caught on the right-hand side. Weehaw should be able to get that kill. Force Staff off the clip. Weehaw on hot pursuit, though. Limp finishes off that support. Here comes the buybacks. Juggernaut buys back 1. Lina and Dazzle. Buyback 2. There's a Rubik buyback as well. This is going to be coming down to almost an end-game clash with so many buybacks missing.
Yeah, and the key thing here is Gyrocopter has not yet had to expend his, so he'll have a buyback. He won't really have like BOTs in, but there's still the tier 2 tower down bottom, so it's a close enough proxy for him to get back into the fight. Meanwhile, the tier 4s are pushing in, so they could just kind of play a little bit of a waiting game here, just try to kind of hold this as an impasse and wait for the stalemate to tip the scales in their favor as the tier 4s crumble. But as it is right now, they'll wait out at least the weave, and I think they have to focus the Gyrocopter very early and just even with the buyback, just hope that they can win the fight while he's trying to get back into it.
Right. And NiP, they've got that top lane pushing, as you said. They also have a little bit more value out of the Ancient Apparition than the Earthshaker. And they know Earthshaker doesn't have Echo Slam right now. Though, I suppose, level 16, such a short cooldown, he's almost has it up. 13 seconds. Manta Illusions trying to push in the bottom lane. But Balkan Bears want that push forward. They do not want the chance of ninjas in pajamas to be able to have better map control over this Roshan pit. Exists, thrown up onto the cliff. Oh, dear. He does not have a TP scroll. Lip is going to reveal him. Ultimate goes off. Exist. He's stuck here for a while. In fact, Lip's just going to pop the refresher. It's worth it. It's worth it to be able to get that kill. That's going to force out even more as the buyback is already out from the Gyrocopter. Yapzor could go down. Eula's Scepter to dodge. Or rather, Ice Blast now coming in, almost setting that up, but not quite good enough. The call on Jonas Amfan, Force Staff away, gets him some distance. Balkan Bears trying to fight around this hill.
Hanskin Dota, man. I mean, that's an automatic kill on the Gyrocopter, just catching him out in that position, and that is just like something you never see. I mean, I haven't seen that since Caudal Illuminate was like the thing to put down in Roche pits, but catching him in that kind of position, isolating him completely, that's a free kill in the Gyrocopter before the fight begins. The hard carry here with 20,000 net worth just dwarfed by the lowly Rubik. Oh my goodness, this is just insane. That pickoff just breaks things loose. And actually, Weehaw in the pit, they don't have a vortex down. They can't see him, but he's actually still in there.
Yeah, you do have Era, who's going to show up soon. There
There
is a ward laid down, and they're going to try and counter it. Jump in, Axe. Whoa, miss blink. He still has
He's
the force
literally in the
staff.
pit. He didn't blink at all. Like, I don't...
Yeah, I don't know what that 2-foot blink there was, but he's still got the force staff to get him over the cliff, I suppose. They're good
Yeah.
for the time being. Both teams knowing how critical. Like Era, if Era goes down in this engagement, he doesn't have buyback. That could be Balkan Bears actually maybe not straight up winning the fight, straight up winning the game, but definitely crippling NiP and evening out this game significantly.
Yeah, but now the Aegis is going to go the way of Era. What does he drop for this item? The Mask of Madness? It seems to be the least expensive. Thunder God's Wrath cutting it out. They can't engage, and in fact, it's quick RP on to 2. Weehaw as well as Levi going to be going down here.
Beautiful.
Well, it's just a cheese. Dazzle can't buy back for 80 seconds. He's down.
They just lost so much on their throne time. Like, the throne practically died because NiP were just playing this stalemate so beautifully that eventually Balkan Bears had to go back with significant numbers and will end up losing out on the Aegis and Cheese. Now the throne's completely exposed. Even if NiP do just barely win a fight, they can just go all in on the throne at this point in time. It's only got 1,500 HP.
I mean, they have the glyph, but that's all they've got going for them, and now the Magnus buys out. I was wondering when he would go for it, but he actually doesn't even have to lose the buyback for this. He'll just go ahead, pick that up, and move forward with the double ultimate. Now, he only has one right now because he initially used one to get the 2-man pickoff, but, I mean, that just makes it all the more surprising when he BOTs to the front line with that second ulti available. So, we'll see if he can make the move, maybe Shadow Blade it so they don't see the refresher. Yeah, he's making his approach as sneaky as possible, so they will not see the refresher orb until it's unveiled. They'll be like, RP's on cooldown, let's try to fight based on that, but he might actually pull it out before the 30-second mark, or if he waits 30 seconds, then he just has 2 RPs, and that's even better.
Does he have buyback?
He just bought out for the BOTs.
Okay.
He had
Yeah,
buyback
that's
with refresher, but he bought the BOTs too.
So another 900 gold, and he could have buyback, which means like he can make the RP initiation, and even if he dies, he can go ahead, buy back, refresh, Boots of Travels in, and have a bit longer of an impact in the fight if he doesn't see the opportunity for a straight double RP.
I think with the Aegis, they'll just go now. I think they can just cover the Juggernaut in this capacity.
Especially with Weehaw potentially being picked off. The Ice Blast just barely clips in. The RP misses, though. They still get the Axe. Meanwhile, Juggernaut taking down that Tier 3 tower. They're dealing with it now. Balkan Bears going to have to fight without their Axe, knowing that he did not have a buyback. They went for him first.
This is tough. I mean, exists without the buyback. Looking back at being caught on a cliff and just realizing that might be the mistake that cost them the match here. Now it's going to be Era just going right through the racks, doing good damage to the gyrocopter already, and if he goes back to the fountain, he'll just be Ice Blast when he comes out of it. It's a clear shot for the Ancient Apparition. They're going to just zone them away from the racks. They're all going down. It's going to be the throne exposed, 2 lanes of racks down, and now they can commit fully to the Frozen Throne, the Dire Ancient, and try to just finish it off here with this last RP.
Ninjas and Pajamas start pushing it into the throne. It's at 1,000 HP. Balkan Bears gotta go soon. They still have that glyph. Here's the setup. Exist. They're trying to bait Era to go for the throne as best as possible with the glyph, but Era still turns just to go for Exist. Jonas Fun missed the opportunity there for an RP. Able to clean up Levy. No Shawgrave gonna be had by him, plus the RP onto Exist. No buyback. He is down and out. Balkan Bears will call it GG. Ninjas in Pajamas. They may have failed to take out Empire in that best of 5, but they do beat out Balkan Bears in a best of 3, a quick 2-0, as they dominate this series and prove that they are worth the invite to the Dota 2 Champions League LAN Finals.
Certainly just playing like champions here. This was incredible. The Cliff Dota, best Dota. I don't know what else to say. NiP, they played that stalemate situation perfectly. They just were able to use their Rax advantage up top as a point of leverage where they were able to just time their assault perfectly. They got the key objective. They take the throne. They don't even use the Aegis. Just really a great draft from NiP, a brilliant execution, and some amazing RPs. NiP Dota, best Dota. Really fun to watch, to cast, and man, to see them going into the finals there, that's going to be awesome.
Yep, it's going to be a fantastic time. We hope you guys will tune into the LAN Finals. That's going to be coming up in just a few weeks. I don't think we have yet to announce where it's going to be. It's going to be here in Germany. I know people know that much, but As far as to where, I think that's still up to your guess. But yeah, this brings us to a close. Burton United is going to be here with Ninjas in Pajamas, Team Empire, and our Chinese team, Vici Gaming. Should be an awesome 4-team event. Hope you guys will tune in for it. But for now, this is the end of the broadcast. It's just struck midnight, so what a time to close out, Blaze. You got any words for us before we head out?
Man, it's been great casting with you today, man. D2CL has been really fun, bringing us some excellent games. So, of course, shout out to them and what they've been able to do for the Dota scene season to season. And I'm looking forward to seeing more from all these teams as they progress to the LAN finals. It's going to be a treat. Can't wait to see, of course, join Dota, casting on LAN, and show what they've got. Professionalism at its finest. And that's all the sellout I've got for now. See you, man.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We do not have any broadcast tomorrow, I believe. I'm going to check the calendar real quick so you guys know. We have, no broadcasts tomorrow or the day after. We're going to have some MLG Pro Leagues start sprinkling in here and there, and it will start kicking off quite heavily as time goes on. Austin, Texas, the LAN event for MLG Season 2 is going to be in Austin, Texas with X Games. That's going to be a big-time event. We hope you guys will tune in for that one, but we do have to get through a whole entire Season 2 in a very short period of time. So we're going to have a lot of matches coming up. All of them are going to be best of 3, so be sure to just keep your eye on JoinDota.com for all your future streams, Join Dota related. And thanks so much for tuning in, guys. There is going to be a match actually tonight in 2 hours. Toffee's going to be casting that. It's Pain Gaming versus North American Rejects. Go check that one out on the MLG channel.